Good morning. Welcome to your early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, America's kick-ass coach and psychologist, here with some wisdom to start your day. And I'm smirking because the cards kind of pulled a trick on me today. So, our card deck is the Grace Cards deck from Cheryl Richardson. They still don't have the screen improved that when I flip it I am not green, so here we are backwards still. Good morning, Diane. Welcome, welcome. Good morning, Cindy. Welcome. Looks like there's one more person here. Can't see who. Glad you guys are all here. So, we had an interesting little foray into the cards this morning. I pulled the first card, and good morning, Jerry. Was immediately irritated and exercised my free will and said, no, I'm not reading that card. It doesn't fit. I don't like it. It's not going to work. So I set it aside and I picked again, and the card that came up second made the first card make sense. So we're getting two cards today. Sometimes I get bucky with the cards. Anywho, our first card is really beautiful. Illumination. Illumination. And look at those gates. Isn't that gorgeous? It says, believe in the power of grace. When we least expect it, a new door will open and the light of grace will illuminate our next step. Excuse me. So I want to talk about that part first, and then I'll bring in the second card that pissed me off. Good morning, Kathy. Welcome. So, illumination. Illumination. What that means is, notice where the light is coming from. Above. Above. So when we're walking our path, I was reading this amazing chapter. It's actually the last chapter in a book that I'm sorry to see end. It's one of the books by Robin Wall Kimmerer. Good morning, Janice. Welcome. And she is both, excuse me, an indigenous person and a botanist. And this whole book is about mosses. I have always loved moss because of the colors. Green is my favorite color. And so reading this book has allowed me to appreciate them ever so much more. And the last chapter, she's talking about a magical place where she and her young daughters would go, where they'd be along the water's edge and they'd crawl into the granite caves where the water had washed away underneath. And when the sun would descend to just the right trajectory, it would shine into the cave and there would be bioluminescence all over the place from a particular kind of moss, a very rare kind of moss. And so that kind of made me think of that when I looked at the illumination here. And not only is there that divine light that shines down to illuminate our path, there's also our inner light, which beams forth to illuminate our path. We have a whole lot of light going on. Even when things are very dark around us, there is a plethora of light, okay? We need to enjoy that fact and have faith in that fact. The first word on the card is believe. Believe in the power of grace. When we least expect it, a new door will open and the light of grace will illuminate our next step. So, we don't have to see the whole path. As Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. says, take the next step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase. This is a prime example of that. Right now, our world is a prime example of that. We have no idea what's coming 10 steps down the road. So we take a step in faith. Enough. That's good enough for right now. And notice that it says, when we least expect it, a new door will open. Oh yeah, Kathy says it looks like the light is shining through angel wings. It does. It does. We are divinely guided. We are divinely guided. That new door that opens in divine right timing may not even be visible when we approach it. It may not even be visible. Janice saw the angel wings too. Cool, cool. Hey, and you know what that makes me think of? I'm in the process of website redo. It's time to up level again. And good morning, Mary. And my first ever business logo was done by my son, who's an artist. And my business at that point was called Your Path to Empowerment and Purpose. I never did small titles. Now we're down to empowerment coaching. But Your Path to Empowerment and Purpose. And he took the colors that I loved and he made this beautiful logo. And almost everyone who looked at it said, wow, look at the angel wings. And he hadn't seen them and I hadn't seen them. But in the drawing, it looked like angel wings. And I'm like, how cool is that? And that divine piece has certainly come forth much more for me over the last however many years, since I think he was maybe in high school when he drew that. And he's about to be 30. So yeah. So again, that door may not even be visible right now. You may not see it. But as you take your steps forth, eventually that door materializes and it opens. That's where our faith and trust comes in. That's where our faith and trust comes in. And the second card fits right in with that part of the first card. It is act. Act. And in case you can't tell, that's a woman with her hair and clothing streaming behind her. So let me read that one. And again, this one pissed me off when I first read it. And I said, no, I'm not reading that one. It's not right for our times right now. But on the tail end of the first card, it does make sense. So we believe in the power of grace. When we least expect it, a new door will open and the light of grace will illuminate our next step. Charge forward. When we combine action with unwavering faith, the power of grace will meet our needs. There, it makes total sense, doesn't it? It makes total sense. So it's about that stepping forward in faith. And right now it may be a little more tentative because of what's going on in our world. That's okay. Keep stepping. Quiet yourself. Listen within. Look around with your third eye. Hear with your intuitive ears. What step to take? Good morning, Bonnie. Welcome, welcome. What step to take next? And then just take that step. Don't worry about where you're going from there. Don't worry if it doesn't seem to make logical sense. Right now, a whole lot of stuff is not going to make logical sense. And why is that? Because logical sense comes from our third dimension, human-driven stuff. The bigger picture, the divine unfolding, operates on entirely different principles. Entirely different principles. So even look at the difference between the coloring on both cards. This first card, to me, is 5D. It's that higher dimension. It's the beauty of all that surrounds us. This card looks more like the 3D. Good morning, Mary. It looks more like the earth plane and our acting on the earth plane. But when it's driven from this, that higher plane, this becomes, I don't want to say easier, but simpler. Simpler. It's spirit guided. It's spirit led. Okay? And there's my cup of coffee. Thank you, Mary. So, I'm going to read them both together again. I'd like you to close your eyes. I'd like you to breathe. And I'd like you to ask your intuition, the wise part of you, the guiding light within, to take whichever line is most appropriate for you for today, that will lead your steps where they need to go. So, nice deep breath in. Let it go. Believe in the power of grace. When we least expect it, a new door will open and the light of grace will illuminate our next step. Charge forward. When we combine action with unwavering faith, the power of grace will meet our needs. Somewhere in there is the message for you. Receive it. You don't have to grab for it. That's that divine masculine thing. Receive it. Open to receiving that part of the message that's meant for you, and then step forward in faith. It may be a toe length forward. Good enough. Good enough. It may be taking the time, acting upon the need to still yourself and see what comes. So yesterday, I was working away on stuff for the writer's retreat tomorrow and a variety of different things, and just got this whammo message, go lay down. Go lay down. And I'm like, I got all this stuff to do, but I had agreed that I was going to do a sabbatical, a mini sabbatical yesterday afternoon. Well, it got bumped an hour later than what I had anticipated, and it ended up being totally different than what I had projected. So I had projected that I was going to be doing some breath work and some journaling and some sitting in the sun. Well, the sun didn't cooperate. So what I ended up doing was, there was that drive to just go lay down. So I did, and I could feel this deep transformation going on. I can't yet put words to what's changing or what did change yesterday, but it was clearly, I'm so glad I heeded the guidance to go lay down. It wasn't a passive, I'm going to do nothing, I'm just going to sleep. It was an active, it's time for transformation. I need to lay down, sleep in this weird kind of sleep that wasn't, it was merely to get me out of the way, is basically what I think the sleep was, so that the engineers within could retool what needed to be redone. And then I woke up, I was kind of groggy, went back to doing the other things. It was the exact amount of time that I had allotted for my sabbatical. It was just an hour later. That was cool. Divine right timing, not Bonnie's timing. And that shift that occurred feels like it's going to be much more of this. Much more of this. The divine will lead, I will follow. The divine will put out a call, I will act. The divine will illuminate the path, I will take the step. So, coolness all the way around, right? So, I would like for you, and again, for those of you who, because I'll get comments like, well, it's cool that it works that way for you, it doesn't work that way for me. For many years, nothing like that worked for me. People would be talking about their intuitions and their hits and all that stuff, and it didn't make sense to me. Good morning, Victoria, welcome. It didn't make sense to me. Now it makes total sense to me, because what was happening was these two weren't linked up. I was doing this part really well, that earth-based do stuff, but the being led by the divine needed to come online much more. I needed to be open to receiving this. It's there for everybody. It's there for everybody. But we need to prepare ourselves to be open to it. Little kids are way open to it. They get it. They totally get it. Then we mess them up. And then hopefully somewhere down the line they figure it back out again. So, what I want you to do is I want you to step into that illumination. It's there for you. It's there for everybody. You may need to still yourself. You may need to be quiet. If you want some assistance with doing that, and you're going, yeah, but I can't afford to coach with you, fine. I've got simple little things that we do. We do these every morning. That's free. We do the cacao ceremonies. Those are $15. We do the empowerment risings. Those are $15. So for a little investment, you can do a deep dive into this kind of stuff. The world is so ready and needing for us to up level here. We got to let go of the old paradigm. That masculine stuff, it ain't working for us. It needs to be part of the whole, which includes the feminine stuff. So for now, we need to be doing the leaning back and listening, the stilling ourselves, the hearing the messages, the openness to receiving, the willingness to take guidance. That's where we need to be right now. Then we combine it with that divine masculine, the acting, but that acting is then inextricably linked to the divine guidance. And it's so much better that way. So much better that way. Because again, like this is saying, then those doors begin to appear and the doors begin to open because we're operating in faith and trust and belief instead of out of fear. So that's enough pontification for today. I want you to keep this picture in your mind. This is where we're at, right here, right now. Those angel wing doors are opening right in front of us. All we need to do is be still, be quiet, observe that through our third eye, hear that through our intuitive ears, and when the timing is right, take our step forward in faith. Have an awesome day. I'll see you again tomorrow. Tomorrow is the beginning of the Writers Retreat online. I am really excited. I have a website overhaul in mind that's going to be happening. So pick something from what we've talked about today. Hang on to it. Go with it. Lead yourself forward. The answers are all there. It's all right there. Right there. Yep. 3 days in a row, the message of light has been made aware to me. Yes. Yes, stand in the light, operate in the light. Do not descend into the darkness. The darkness is necessary right now. It's illuminating. The light then shines much brighter. The light then shines much brighter when it's countered by the darkness. But we don't need to descend into the darkness. So stay in the light, even if it's just a little bitty flame right now. Fan that flame. Take little steps. Breathe, believe. This is a good time to be alive. See you again tomorrow. Remember, you are capable of far more than you think you are. Go forth.